Excellency, the Ambassador of Kazakhstan to Pakistan, Mr. Yerzan is here with us in this house. It would be a great pleasure and honor, sir, to listen from you about this International Conference of South and Central Asia Reconnected. Please come on the stage.
Distinguished speakers, distinguished guests, honorable scholars, students, Assalamu alaikum. First of all, let me thank our dear brother, Professor Dr. Mahmoud Hussein, for inviting us, for organizing such a very important conference. I would like to also welcome our experts from the Kazakh Institute of Strategic Studies. I believe such kind of interaction between our scholars, experts, is extremely important. Nowadays, the topic of today's conference is Central and South Asia reconnection. And if you allow me, I will be talking about practical steps that we are making in order to revive those relations that we enjoyed in the past. I have three dimensions. First one is our bilateral cooperation. So in 2020, during our 9th Intergovernmental Joint Commission, it was decided to establish 3 joint working groups. And one of them is dedicated to transport and regional connectivity. When it comes to cooperation between Kazakhstan and Pakistan, I always see that we have 2 main challenges that we need to address. The first one is lack of information. The problem is that our societies, our communities, business circles know almost nothing about each other. And this is why we need to fill the gap. And in this term, to address this issue, I believe that such kind of events, conferences, interactions are extremely important. But first of all, I'm more focused on developing collaboration between our media communities, and this is why during last and this year we've been inviting to Kazakhstan representatives of the Pakistani media community to learn more about the latest developments in our country and to share this information through their networks that they have. Another important issue, lack of connectivity, and I believe that this problem is closely interrelated with the conference today that we are participating in. So when it comes to lack of connectivity, I must say that in general, when it comes to establishing connections between Kazakhstan and Pakistan, it will be and it should be useful not only for our 2 countries but for the whole region. And the reason why is that if you have a look at the map, Kazakhstan is the 9th largest country in the world. Our Central Asian region is a landlocked region. So for us, cooperation with Pakistan is extremely important in terms of getting access to the warm waters, and it would be probably the shortest route for us to reach the international markets. So Kazakhstan is located right at the top of Central Asia, while Pakistan is located at the bottom. So it means that if we connect Kazakhstan and Pakistan, other countries in the region can easily enjoy this connectivity. This is why it is extremely important to develop sustainable, safe routes to deliver goods, to develop our bilateral trade, our people-to-people contacts, B2B, so on and so forth. And I'm happy to see that, inshallah, this year, even if everything goes smooth, next month we are going to launch direct flights between Kazakhstan and Pakistan, between Almaty and Lahore, and as the next step between Almaty and Karachi. And we do believe that this connectivity, air connectivity, will help us in terms of strengthening ties between our countries. Our presidents, by the way, last year they met twice at the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Uzbekistan in September, and then in October during the Sikha Summit in Astana. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif visited our country for the first time, and he had very good discussions with our president, and both leaders agreed that we need to strengthen and revive cooperation between our countries, with the main focus, of course, on economic cooperation. So, so as you might see, we are trying to, to develop this connectivity at our bilateral level. Last year, we organized the first session of our joint working group on transport and regional connectivity. This year we are going to have the second session. It will take place, inshallah, in Islamabad. I'm in touch with the Ministry of Communications, and both sides are interested very much in developing this connectivity. So in general, I must say that we have three routes. The first route is the so-called Karakorum Highway, which goes from Pakistan to China, Kyrgyzstan, and finally to Kazakhstan. This is the shortest route that we have to deliver goods. The delivery time is about 6 days, but due to the weather conditions, it is not operational throughout the year. The second route is through Afghanistan. And nowadays, with the government, with the Taliban, I must say that it is even easier to deliver goods between our countries. On regular basis, we have meetings with logistics companies, and what they say is that the government of Taliban is expressing and showing their interest in securing this deliverings, arranging these routes in a proper way, and they are very cooperative in this term. And the third route goes through from Pakistan to Iran, from Balochistan to Turkmenistan, and finally to Kazakhstan. In this case, we have a railroad. Railroad is extremely important because, again, if you want, for example, to deliver bulks, when it comes to wheat, coal, and other stuff like that, we can use this railroad to deliver. So this is bilateral level. Regional level. Let me share some developments that are taking place in our the regional level, in Central Asia and beyond. From the very beginning, our country was in favor of regional cooperation. Moreover, our president back in 90s, first president, His Excellency Nursultan Nazarbayev, he proposed this idea to establish so-called Union of Central Asian States. Unfortunately, at that time, our Central Asian brothers, not all of them, were very supportive of this idea. Nowadays, I'm happy to say that we are enjoying very cordial, friendly relations, and all 5 Central Asian states are convinced now that without regional cooperation, it will be simply impossible to survive. It will be simply impossible to develop, cooperation with the whole world, with the rest of the world. So that's why, on regular basis, on annual basis, we hold Central Asian summits with the participation of all leaders of Central Asian countries. And we do believe that Central Asia, in this term, has, a very promising future. Another very important development that is taking place right now is so-called Turkic movement. Last year, we have established Organization of Turkic States, and the members are, and again, if you have a look at the map, Turkey, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Kyrgyzstan, and observer states are Hungary and the Cyprus, Turkey. So what I'm trying to say is that regional integration is taking place very actively in our part of the world, and all of these countries are interested very much in developing cooperation within the region and beyond. And for us, as I already mentioned, being the landlocked country region, the biggest, I think, landlocked country region, cooperation with Pakistan is extremely important. There are so many things that should unite us, and we do believe that this collaboration can and should be a kind of complementary cooperation. For example, you need energy resources. Kazakhstan and other countries in this region, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, were rich with energy resources, and we are ready to develop cooperation in energy area, which is very important. We need, as I said, access to the warm waters, and you have it. So we have what you need, and you have what we need. This is why I do believe that it's a win-win situation, and we should definitely develop collaboration between our countries. And as I already mentioned, it will be beneficial not only for Kazakhstan and Pakistan or Uzbekistan, but for the whole, for the entire region, including Afghanistan. And Afghanistan in this term is extremely important. It will be difficult to develop collaboration between our countries, unless Afghanistan is not stabilized. We it is possible, but still it will be very challenging to develop collaboration. Moreover, Afghanistan can and should play a role of a kind of transit hub in terms of developing cooperation between Pakistan and Central Asia. Back in December 2029, your government adopted for the first time the national security strategy. And it was said that Afghanistan is a very important country for Pakistan, including in terms of developing cooperation between Pakistan and Central Asian region. The same year, your country also adopted for the first time Central Asian strategy, so-called Vision Central Asia. So what we see is that there is a good will, political will, at the highest level to develop collaboration. Again, in 2021, our brothers in Uzbekistan, in Tashkent, they organized a conference almost with the same, I would say, topics, South and Central Asia connectivity. And during this conference, Uzbekistan and Pakistan, as the outcome of the negotiations between leaders, it was announced that these two countries are going to develop strategic partnership. So just last week, President of Tajikistan visited Kazakhstan, and again, our presidents announced that they are going to develop strategic partnership, and we are going to sign an allied agreement. The same we did with Uzbekistan, a couple of months ago. So what I'm saying is that nowadays we are focused very much on developing regional cooperation. And in this term, I must say the best example, of course, is the European Union. Who could have imagined such kind of interaction, such kind of integration in the 21st century? Back, let's say, last century, when the First World War, the Second World War took place, and it was simply unimaginable to see such kind of interaction or cooperation between Germany, France, and the UK. But now what we see one of the best integrations, and I think we should simply follow almost the same model, learning and studying their experience. So, and the third level is about cooperation between continents. Unfortunately, because of this conflict between Russia and Ukraine, as you know, one of the main discussions are around so-called grain deal to provide safe transport corridor through the Black Sea to deliver Ukrainian wheat to other parts of the world. So I must say that even Pakistan is one of the customers of the Ukrainian wheat. And for you, again, if you have a look at the map, for you it is much easier to deliver wheat from Ukraine than from Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is your almost immediate neighbor, I would say, while Ukraine is much, it's too far from you in comparison to Kazakhstan. But still, due to the lack of connectivity, it is difficult to deliver wheat from our side. So what I want to say is that if the regional infrastructure, if regional routes are established, are well developed and safe and sustainable, it means that we could bring wheat from Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan, by the way, is in top 10 among the world wheat exporters. It means that we could bring wheat from Kazakhstan to other parts of the world. I mean, the main idea of this grain deal between Turkey, Russia, and Ukraine is to deliver wheat to the least developed countries. I mean, Africa, of course, in order to avoid food crisis, in order to avoid, this kind of problems. So Kazakhstan could play a very important role, as well as Pakistan, because for us, Pakistan is a gateway in terms of getting access to the African markets as well as to Southeast Asia markets. So what I'm saying is that in this term, it is not only about bilateral cooperation, it is not only about regional cooperation, it is also about connecting our different continents. And in this term, again, we could deliver our wheat to the African markets and to any other markets in the world. And this is why regional connectivity is extremely important, and we should understand clearly our responsibility for the future of our region. Some previous speakers, they mentioned that there are some big powers, there are China, Russia, the United States, so on and so forth. So I do believe, and I'm firmly convinced, and this is my main message to the young generation, we should stop blaming someone for the problems that we have in our own region. We should stop blaming someone for the problems that we have in our own countries. And we finally should take responsibility for the future of our countries, for the future of our region. We have everything. Potential is there. What we need to do, we need to work hard. If we blame someone for the problems, our own problems, we will never ever be able to identify the roots of these problems. And we will never ever be able to address those problems in a proper manner. Sitting and saying that this is because of the United States, this is because of Russia, so on and so forth, it will never ever help us. So we should develop critical thinking. We should try to identify each and every problem that we face in our countries, in our region. We should sit, discuss, and find a possible solution to all these problems. And of course, peaceful diplomatic talks are the only instrument to overcome the crisis, to overcome the problems that we face. 30 years ago, back in 1992, our first president, he proposed this idea at the United Nations General Assembly to establish a conference on interaction and confidence building measures in Asia. The main idea was to sit and discuss peaceful solutions to the problems that we face in our region, the problems that do not, they can never help us to develop our region. So I'm deeply convinced that our region can be successful. Again, I hear some assessments that our region has failed. There are so many problems, there are so many threats, there are so many challenges, so on and so forth. But who doesn't have problems? Who doesn't have challenges? Every country, every region, face different problems. So we should take, as I said, responsibility for the future of our own region in our own hands, and finally understand that we can make our region successful, and we can make our region competitive at the international markets. The only thing that we need to do, we need to develop cooperation. And of course, in this term, I must say regional connectivity. As many experts say today, regional connectivity is the name of the game. If we develop our regional infrastructure, if we develop our regional connectivity, we will be able to bring our region and our regional cooperation to new heights, to new levels. See what our Chinese partners are doing. One Belt, One Road initiative. Exactly 10 years ago, this initiative was announced by President Xi Jinping in Astana during his official visit to Kazakhstan at the premises of the Nazarbayev University, when he was delivering lecture about regional connectivity and about regional cooperation. And it was made on purpose because Kazakhstan plays a very important part in One Belt, One Road initiative, and again, Pakistan as well is a very important part in terms of CPEC project. So I do believe that if we connect these infrastructural projects, it will be beneficial for the whole region. And definitely, again, this kind of interaction at the experts level can help us a lot to develop practical recommendations for our governments on how we can develop our cooperation, what areas should be at the very focus of our officials, and what should be done in terms of filling the gap, in terms of addressing those problems that we face today. Once again, thank you so much for the invitation, and I wish you a successful conference. Thank you.